In the past, we've created a couple of videos on shot timers and explained the benefits, the value of using shot timers, especially if you're really trying to push your shooting and get to that next level. We have reviewed more costly timers out there. There are a lot of different models, from models that are ranging from $500 up to anywhere from that average price range of $300. And often we hear a lot of people say they're not going to invest that much money into a timer. And I completely understand. Depending on how serious or how far you're going into your shooting journey, maybe an expensive timer isn't for you. That's why in this video, I want to compare two popular timers that fall below the $150 mark. I'll be comparing the PACT timer, which you'll probably have seen in a lot of competitions and on the range, and the Shooters Global or the SG Timer Go, this little thing right here. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Welcome back, I'm Myles at Tactical Hyve, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be comparing two timers, the PACT timer and the SG Timer Go. Both of these timers are below $150 and have a lot of different features that probably your normal, let's say, watch timer doesn't have, or your budget timer that may be selling on Amazon for, let's say, $40. So these two are two very popular choices that fall in that budget range. And I will say, before diving any deeper in the interview, if you're just wondering which one I would pick, I would get the SG Timer Go all day long. It has a lot more features and it is practically the same price. So I'll dive into that in a bit. Let's first talk about the design of both of these timers. In the front here, this is where you're going to see the mic and the speaker. This is the actual speaker, so you're going to hear the buzz, the timer go off from here, and there's a little hole here that is the mic. So that is picking up all the shots. So very simple design here, very easy to use, and there really shouldn't be a large learning curve for anyone who uses this timer. Now let's move on to the SG Timer Go. As you see here, it is very simple as well. You have that clip here. It is definitely much smaller than the PACT timer, and you'll have two buttons here and a large display. So very simple as well in terms of the operation. There's really not many buttons you can use here. And I'll dive into all the little things in a little bit, kind of how you use it, but the design here is very minimalistic. You'll have the on button right here, and then you'll have this small button which serves to be your settings button, and it'll help you cycle through different menus and things like that. You have this clip, and the SG Timer Go does have two different clips. So I'll discuss that in a little bit later. But as you can see, the design is pretty solid. Both of them very straightforward, easy to use, very big screen so that you can see your stats, whether you're in an indoor range or an outdoor range. One thing to note, they both have great displays. However, depending on the lighting conditions, whether you're in an outdoor range or indoor range, with the PACT timer, it doesn't have a backlit screen. So if you're in very dark conditions, you're not going to be able to see the data. Whereas the SG Timer Go has a very bright display and it automatically adjusts. The LED light will turn on and off depending on your surroundings. In terms of design, I would say the SG Timer Go wins because it's a lot more compact. I don't like a lot of clunky gear around me when I'm training, so I give the win to the SG Timer Go for design. In terms of ease of use, they're both very simple timers. You can see from the controls, it's not very complicated. And with the SG Timer Go, you will have this big on button, which serves to be your start stop as well. And then you'll be able to cycle through menus and also your stats through this small button here. After you take a shot or after you do a string of shots, you would press that button and you can see all of your shots, split times for the first 3 shots, then you can cycle even further down for other shots. So it's very easy to use. Now, in terms of other settings, in regards to how do you set par times, how do you change the volume, things like that, that isn't done within the timer. You would use your iPhone and the Drills app that comes with the SG timer, and it's free. Then you would put all the settings there, connect it via Bluetooth, and now everything that you set in the phone is going to be in your timer. So you don't have to carry your phone with you, and that makes using this much simpler in terms of just 2 buttons to worry about. And you can cycle through presets, things like that through here after you established everything on the phone. That said, it does require a little bit of setup using your phone. Albeit it's very simple, you do have to take the time to put in your par times, create different presets, but after that is all set up, this is going to be very easy to use. The PACT timer is a very simple timer. You have the on and off button right here. You have the review button. And as I mentioned, you can go through your stats with these up and down arrows. There is no app to fiddle with. So if you want a basic timer, you don't want to fiddle with technology, then this is going to be the timer for you. However, one feature of the PACT timer isn't very easy to adjust, and that's the sensitivity of your mic. So let's say you wanted to pick up shots that are not as loud, you will have to open up the battery compartment, and there is a little area that you can adjust the sensitivity. Whereas with a lot of different timers, let's say the SG Timer Go and other timers out there, it's built into the timer or an app, and you can just easily adjust it. You don't have to pop anything open and physically do anything. So when it comes to ease of use, I would have to say it's a tie, because the SG Timer Go does take a little time to set up with all of your presets and get it the way exactly that you want, and you have to use an app for that. However, once it's all set up, then I would say this is the simplest timer to use. The PACT timer is simple out of the box, but then again, if you want to adjust the sensitivity, you have to go in there and you have to physically adjust the sensitivity of the mic. So I don't really like that. I'd rather be able to just press a button and then get it all over with. So because of that, I think it's a tie. They both have their pros and cons in terms of the ease of use, but overall, both of them are very simple to use. Let's dive into price point. As I mentioned, both of these timers are below $150, and the PACT timer runs for, as far as I know right now, $129.99. And the SG Timer Go has two different models, but they really it just depends if you want a sturdy clip like this or this Velcro clip, or you can get them both. The highest price for the SG timer is $149.99, and that is if you get both of these clips here. One of them is a more permanent fix. The other one has this kind of Velcro type of strap, which also has a quick release here for the timer. So if you want to keep this on your belt and then maybe look at the time or move it around, whatever it is, you can do that with this quick release timer. So pick and choose whichever one you want. Again, with both of them, it's $149.99. And if you get one or the other, I think it falls down to about like $139.99, something like that. But you can get all the details on their website. Now it's time to dive into the features of these timers. So let's start off with the PACT timer. You'll see this big green button, which is the on-off button and the start button for the actual buzzer. So when you're ready to time yourself or time somebody else, you would just press the green button, you'll hear that beep. And as you take shots, all of that data is going to be recorded and displayed here on the screen. Also, when you dive into the settings, which can be accessed by pressing these two buttons together here, this is where you can adjust whether you want your timer to go off after a delay or instantly. If you use the delay feature, you will have 3 seconds before the actual buzzer sounds after hitting the green button. In the settings menu, you'll also be able to change par time, which is pretty standard among different shot timers out in the market. In terms of power source, this does not use a rechargeable battery. There is an external battery right here beneath this compartment, which I can't for the life of me get open for this particular video. So this will, I guess this is a ding for the PACT timer right now, but it does use an external battery. The sensitivity, as I mentioned, is going to be adjusted within or underneath this cover here. You physically have to adjust it. Regarding volume, as I mentioned earlier, and as far as I know, there really is no adjustment setting for the volume. That said, the buzzer is very loud, so you're going to hear it in the busiest of ranges. Now that we've covered all of the major features of the PACT timer, let's move on to the SG Timer Go. It's very simple. Everything that I just said with the PACT timer, the SG Timer Go has, and a whole lot more. So again, the simple on, off, the par times, the reviewing your stats, changing the sensitivity. There's also volume control as well, unlike the PACT timer. In the past, we conducted a full review on the Shooters Global Smart Timer, which they have the second version now. And one of the main features of that timer was that it has an amazing ecosystem. And the great thing about the SG Timer Go is you can do everything that you can with the app and the higher tier timer, the Smart Timer, with this timer right here for less than $150. So we're talking about being able to use the Drills app to film yourself so that you can capture your shooting as well as your split time, so you can see the actual data appear on screen while you're shooting. There's so much more you can do with the Drills app. And instead of going over everything again, I'm just going to link to it over here or down there in the description, and you can take a look at that section where we're talking about the actual Drills app. Because of the integration between smartphones and this actual physical timer, a lot more data can be recorded into your phone. So you can access your training history from weeks and even months back. Whereas with the PACT timer, it basically just records your last string of shots. After that, it's going to get overwritten by your new string. Where the SG Timer Go, you have lots of data and you can look back very far in terms of your data, perhaps even years, depending on how long and how often you shoot. Some other notable features about the SG Timer Go, there are a number of different modes that you can use with the timer. It's a lot more than just a simple shooting timer for your own practice sessions or for when you're teaching. There's a spy mode, which you can use at matches where this timer will sync up with other timers, so you can basically keep track of times for other shooters. There is a range officer mode too, which you can use at matches, as well as a dry fire practice mode where you can pick up dry fire shots where the PACT timer can't. And that is part of the benefit of having a very, very powerful sensor, which you can fine tune using the Drills app. And if you're an Apple Watch user, you can use your watch to control the timer, which adds a layer of convenience where you don't have to dip down or anything like that. You can see all your data as well on your Apple Watch screen. Unfortunately, I'm not an Apple Watch user, so I can't demonstrate that for you, but that is a neat feature to have, again, if you are an Apple Watch user. So that's a quick video comparing the two most popular timers that I feel fall between the $150 range. And if you're thinking about getting one of these timers, I would say get the SG Timer Go. You are going to pay 20 or 30 more bucks, and then you get a boatload of features. I really don't think there's a question or debate between these two timers. The clear choice is the SG Timer Go. So if you're in the market for a shot timer this holiday season and you do not want to break the bank, make sure to consider one of these two shot timers. This is Myles with Tactical Hyve signing off. See you guys next time.